Hey, this is Little Red Hen, which is Snuck's alt, playing against probably like a Silver League crappy Zerg. Just more proof of concept than any possibility of losing, right? That's what we use alts for. So this is sort of a weird opening, right? You got the 1-Rax fast expand with a single marine, taking gas right after the CC goes down, but not taking your second gas. Third OC, but still very little gas. Bunker in a ridiculously weird position. Like, you can't repair it, and it can be mostly surrounded. And it's also not protecting your workers. Very strange. What Nick does is he lifts this Rax and builds the bunker there, so that you can repair it on this side while it gets beat up on this side, and then you make depots around it on that side. This factory is way too late. I mean, I don't think it's going to matter in this game specifically, but the way the 3OC Banshee Hellion opening works, and I'm not sure if you're even trying to do that, it seems like you're kind of counting on him not to hit you, and I don't think you've scouted him well enough to know that that's not going to happen, because you scouted that he has gas. Now, granted, in Silver League, people might make gas and then not attack you, and that's probably what's going to happen here. But you want your factory... Wait, you want your first Banshee to be done at 7 minutes, which means your starport has to be done at 6 minutes, which means it has to start at 5 minutes, because that's when your factory is done, which means your factory has to start at 4 minutes. So are we going to have a 4-minute factory? No possible freaking way. You need 100 gas by 4 minutes, which means you need to start double refinery at 3 minutes. You know, like it's this snowballing thing. When you start your refineries tells you when you're going to have your first Banshee. So CC. Now double Rax as soon as freaking possible. So you're supposed to get the double gas by 4 minutes, and you only took like 1 gas. So anyway, this is going to lead to you not having your factory on time, but getting this third CC a lot earlier. But getting this third CC a lot earlier, it's basically like getting an extra worker at the cost of being dead if he attacks you. You know, so like, I don't know. I'd rather not be dead if he attacks me. Also, this eBay is way early. What do you need the eBay for right now? How is that helping you? It's not being used, nor should it be. I mean, obviously. But if you don't need it, then don't make it that damn early. You want to make your eBay at like 9.5 minutes. Your money's crazy high already. You're obviously not following a build order, because if you were, this would not be the one you would follow. Cloak and Banshee's coming out at your first Banshee's gonna be out at 9.5 minutes. Like, that's crazy. If he's gonna kill you, he's gonna do it a heck of a lot earlier than 9.5 minutes. Also, too many guys on this gas. You need 2 guys over on that gas. Now your money's getting a little lower. You want 3 factories relatively early. You want double armory relatively early. Your third factory can wait on after you start that armory's upgrade. Also, there's no reason not to put this guy down here and start mining gas down there. If you get forced back to the high ground, you lose some SCVs, but who cares? I mean, SCVs, like command centers, cost minerals only, which means they're free. So take this expo much earlier, as quick as you possibly can, even though you have no units to defend it. Also, don't have no units to defend it. Have some freaking Hellions out by 9 minutes. Oh my god, like, this is really late to still be on 2 Hellions and a Banshee. So your gas is late, your minerals are early, which is why your minerals are piling up and you don't have the gas that you want to do stuff. This still has 5 guys on it. This has 3. When are you going to take your expo, man? And never take a 4th CC before you land your 3rd CC. What's the point in that? If you get this CC denied, now you got 2 in-base CCs. Like, you're just going to mine out so quickly. I'm all about making lots and lots of command centers, just not this early. This CC should have started getting gas. The reason you made this 4th CC is because you have so many minerals and you can't spend them, and the reason you can't spend them is because you haven't been making Hellions. You only have like 2. And the other reason you can't spend them... Okay, you have 6. Still, you should have more than that. The other reason that you can't spend your minerals is that your gas just isn't high enough. If you took these 2 gases, then you'd have more gas, and then you would be able to spend your minerals without having to make a CC. It looks like you probably want to PF this base, and maybe that's why you built this CC. But you also built the bunker here, which seems to suggest that you don't need to PF it. Also, you've got 2 bunkers and only 4 marines. You want to, I mean, don't hotkey this racks because you don't want to be making infantry all the time, but you can just make some infantry. Your money's getting high. You still on 2 factories. This is a problem I saw in a previous game. Is after you start these 2 upgrades, you want to be on 3 factories. And I know that you need to spend that gas on the next wave of upgrades, and you need to spend that gas on the Thors. And so you're not going to have enough gas to have thrown down a 3rd factory. And you might be like, well, haha, so that's why I don't have 3. But it's better to have 3 idle factories now, and then have 3 factories to work when you do get the gas, than to be throwing down a factory that's not going to be ready to build anything for 2 minutes at 12 minutes. I mean, it's going to be a while before these 3 factories kick in and do anything. So you're finally taking this CC at 12 minutes, but I mean, we can tell from the passivity of this Zerg that you could have had it. You could have had it at 9. So that's 3 minutes where you weren't mining gas just because you were scared, man. You're a scared little girl. And one thing you could do is load up 5 SCVs in this CC and land it here, because then he has to knock down the rocks to get to it, or make air units. Very common when you make your 3rd CC for him to come kill it, and that's fine. That's why we take it early, first of all, because it forces him to make army early to try to come kill it. And when he does come kill it, you just float and move your workers away. And what did you lose? I mean, I know that feels like, oh man, he denied my... but really, you lost a couple of minerals. And minerals, look how high your minerals are. You don't give a crap. So, yeah, take that CC early, force him to come deny it, and then lift. And he feels like he just won a big victory, and you're like, well, yeah, but I don't need those minerals, so I don't give a crap. Also, these banshees should always be chasing his army wherever it goes. But, you know, that's an APM thing. You might not want to be doing that. This CC taking this base is really driving me nuts, man. You can definitely get another... I mean, you just... there's no need for you to have an in-base CC. It's silly. So what level did y'all get to? 819. I'm casting. Closey. Now, I mean, before you didn't have enough hellions. Now you kind of have too many. When you get more than 8 hellions, suicide them off and replace them. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't have been building hellions, because you got all these minerals. There's no reason not to build hellions, but suicide them. I mean, his army is sitting right here, but why is it sitting right here? Because you're not making it go anywhere else. Send your hellions through here and go check if he has this base. And look, you would have killed all the workers here. He has no spines, 1 queen, nothing. You could kill all those workers. Same is true over here. No defenses against Hellion run-bys. So even if, like me, you're not good at watching your Hellion run-bys and making sure that they're effective, just sending the Hellions and letting them die will force him to get spines at all 3 of those bases, which is a bunch of drones that he's going to suicide. Also, this is ridiculously common. I don't think I've ever watched a game of yours where you actually took the gas and put guys in the gas on 4 bases in a row. You did great on the first 2, but this 3rd one, no guys on this gas. How you doing on dropping mules? Not very good. This is another pretty consistent problem. Drop mules, man. And it's not that you're forgetting to ever drop mules, because this CC's got no mule energy. It's just that overall you need to drop all of them. I think you probably used a scan. So you are finally suiciding off Hellions. This is good, but it's 15 minutes in. You could have started suiciding them off a lot earlier. These banshees are definitely gonna knock down that CC. What are you doing? Oh. Gonna knock down that hatchery. This is good. You might think, okay, I ran my Hellions in there and killed, what, 2 drones? That's crap. But no, it's good. You want to suicide your Hellions. That's what they're for. Look how many minerals you have. You don't need the Hellions to be alive. You can just replace them. You're keeping your gas low. That's perfect. Building a Hellion out of a tech lab factory is, you know, twice is kind of silly. You got the gas to make 2 Thors. Why are you making Hellions there? Starting these armory upgrades, very crucial. You got to really keep track of that. And again, you're on 3 bases at 16 minutes against a guy who is making absolutely 0 effort to prevent you from getting up to as many bases as you want. So really, take more bases. It doesn't make any sense. not to. Look, you got 4K minerals. You should be throwing down CCs all over the place. You got room for probably 4 more CCs in your main and natural, as well as maybe another one here, so like 5 CCs in your main and natural. You are getting up turrets. Again, I feel like you're getting to that point in the game where there's a lot of things that you need to do, and you know what they are, but doing them is going to take a long time. So yeah, you are throwing down the CCs, that's good. But, you know, 18 minutes to be on 3 base, it's silly. This is a problem that a lot of even Masters League Zerg players have, that you're kind of showing the Terran side of, is that people who are used to being on 1 base or 2 base get a 3rd base and they feel like they're rich. They're like, look at this, I got a 3rd base, bam, I'm rich! And then they don't bother to take a 4th or a 5th or a 6th because they got 3 bases and they feel like 3 bases means they're rich. But at 15 minutes, your main is starting to mine out. It's 18 minutes now. 3 minutes later than that, your main is really mining out. And pretty soon, you're not going to be on 3 bases. I mean, you've already lost patches at both your main and your natural, so you're not really on a 3 base income. You're more like on a you know, 2.5 base income. And the longer we go, the less and less income you're going to have, while having the same number of workers, which means most of those workers are just going to be idle and silly. At this point, I think you've kind of won the game. There's no... Your opponent is doing the same thing. He took 3 bases and never took a 4th, despite the fact that you're not trying to prevent him from taking a 4th. So you've never really tried to deny this. You did deny this CC. You haven't really checked on this or this. He could have had all the bases on his half of the map, and you could have had all the bases on your half of the map. So you guys are both having that problem, man. That problem. There's no CC here. There's no CC here or here. One thing I very often do on this map specifically is if you start on the bottom and you want to keep your army on the bottom and you've got your infrastructure on the bottom, you really need to defend the bottom. So what you do is you like PF here and here, and then you can put a CC here and a CC here, and then fill this whole place with CCs, just CCs everywhere. So you just use 2 PFs to defend an area that can support like 10 orbitals. You are finally taking this base, which you probably should have taken it around 9 minutes. On this map, you want main natural, this base, and then knock down these rocks instantly and just immediately take this base. Because, again, be greedy about taking bases because you don't need the minerals. So if he knocks down a base, what was that? That was minerals you just lost. You don't care. So I know you felt good about this game, and you should have, because you did way better than your opponent. But you're not playing against your opponent, you're playing against yourself, and this was not as good as you could do. You did all the right things, you just kind of did them in slow motion. So you have the right number of factories, this is good. You're constantly producing banshees, which is good. You've got a second starport, which is good. You took 6 gas pretty much as quick as you could. You've taken guys off this gas by accident. But you just never secured your 4th until 20 minutes in. That's just silly. And then even at 20 minutes in, you take your 4th, but you don't take your 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th or 9th or 10th or 11th or 12th or 50th or 70th or 80th base. You are going to go and harass with your banshees. Are you suiciding your hellions still? I've seen you do it twice, which is good, but that's not 5 times. It's twice. Whee! In general, when you have the opportunity to kill either drones or hatchery, always go for the hatchery like you're doing, because you can replace drones in 30 seconds, but it takes them 3 minutes to replace a hatchery. I'm okay with this. I mean, obviously, with him having this floating around, you could have brought Thors here, killed this with banshees, and then retreated to the Thors and been totally safe. But, you know, whatever. As long as you're constantly producing new banshees, it's okay to lose some. You're not mining now, and he's never stopped. He's never even looked at these bases. He's not trying to prevent you from mining. So the fact that you're not mining is entirely your own fault. And you have no, except for this one, you have no orbitals that aren't at a base, and yet you have no base. Like, you need so many more CCs, is my point. I'm trying to say that in a way that makes it make more sense, but no, you just need more CCs. So he's stuck on Roach Ling, right? And whenever someone has a big, low-tier army, you want to try not to kill it. because he's going to replace it with high tier crap, you know? If you kill these roaches, they're all going to be replaced by ultras or broodlords or whatever. So, you know, until he attacks you with it, it's totally fine not to go kill his roaches. But now he comes with some cute little burrowed roaches. You don't have any ravens at this point, which is kind of silly. Whenever you go mech, you absolutely have to get ravens pretty darn early. Just one, because of burrowed roaches. And I know that obviously in this game you're under no threat of dying, but you know, a good player would take those roaches, kill some Thor's burrow, and walk away, and you'd have to use scans to chase them, and even then they regenerate underground fast enough that they can usually get a lot of them away. You're adding more infrastructure, which is good, although you have no gas because you're not taking bases. Like, the goal is to get to 200U and then add a ton of infrastructure and bases, but the bases come first, man. Adding infrastructure, this is 600 gas when you have no gas and you're not at 200U, you know, like, and the reason that's a big deal is just because you didn't take enough gas. You're really just kind of mining off of these gas geysers, and you could be mining off of 3 more, maybe 4 more, maybe 5 more, probably 4 more. Anyway, from here on, you know, the game's kind of been over for a long time. Your opponent's not really doing anything. This is kind of like playing against a very easy AI. And I'd say you did a lot of things right, did a lot of things wrong, and let's just fast forward and watch you kill this guy. He really stands no chance, man. Because he didn't take bases either. This is the baseless against the baseless. Like I said, putting this PF here is kind of a waste because there's a ramp right here that you can double PF or even single PF and just block off. So you don't need a PF here. PF, PF, orbital, orbital, tons of orbitals across the whole area. I'm gonna switch to your view and see what you're looking at. So we've talked about basically how you're supposed to max out and then get like a 4K bank and then go kill him. And that gives you all the time between when you max out and when you get the 4K bank. You have all this time where you got nothing to look at but macro. So there's no excuse not to be taking those extra bases and throwing down additional orbitals. Like, I don't know why you don't have any orbitals right now. You even, like, if you're gonna build these things out in the middle, what's the harm in building some orbitals out in the middle? So you're mined out everywhere but 2 bases. You got a bunch of idle SCVs. And, like, I don't know. It just seems like even if you were playing against no one in this game, you couldn't keep up. Couldn't keep up with the things you wanted to do. So I'd like to see some benchmarking. Benchmarking has done wonders for your game up until 10 minutes, but then we kind of stopped benchmarking because it's too far in. Like, benchmarks don't make any sense after that. But look at this. You got 58 workers at 10 minutes. Practically no army, but that's okay. Because as long as you're not dead, it's okay not to have any army. So, I mean, you did great in the opening portion of the game. This 3OC and even the 4th one taking this PF as soon as it's up, that was all good. The Banshee Hellion, I mean, you started your gas way too late, didn't get enough actual army, didn't suicide your Hellions when you got more than 8 of them, that kind of stuff. But I think we should say 10-minute 3rd and 12-minute 4th and 14-minute 5th and 16-minute 6th, and by 16 minutes, let's be a little generous. Let's say 18 minutes. By 18 minutes, you should be on 3-3, 200 unit space, and have 10 command centers. If you don't have 10 command centers and your money is higher than 300, you did something very wrong. Okay, so try to hit that benchmark in your next game. 10 command centers, 200U, 3-3 upgrades, and there you go. So long term, your goal should always be 10 orbitals because that's like the equivalent of 40 SCVs mining minerals. 10 orbitals and as many PFs as it takes to secure your thing. You might need 5 PFs on some maps or 2 on another map or 10 on another map, so all that kind of stuff. Basically, get the PFs you need to feel safe and also have 10 orbitals. Yeah. Boom.